But to start out, coming back to set, what was it like? Because obviously, the set was struck, things were gone. So how was it?
Everything.
How did it feel, I guess, coming back?
I mean, of two minds, right? Like we had the privilege of actually giving our series an ending, which is so unusual in this day and age. And it was an ending that everybody loved, which is like, wow, that never happens. Um, so I was nervous, I was nervous. We had had auctions to sell off basically every prop, every truck, every fingernail, every demon claw. So we didn't have much when we came back to set, but it also kind of made it feel new, like new network. We're on Tubi, new special, new format. And it all kind of dissipated and felt just incredible when we all stepped on the homestead. That was the moment early on where I was like, oh my God, we're back. This is actually happening. This isn't a prank. We're doing more Earp. And it was both exhilarating and like we'd never left.
Now, you sort of mentioned this, which was my next question, is that season four pretty much ended perfectly. So, I mean, are you at all worried kind of what, I guess, how people are going to react to it now that it's something else?
I mean, I am, but that's sort of the cost of having more Earp, right? Like so many stories end on happily ever after, but like then what happens? That's not real life, right? I feel like Earp has never really played by the rules, Jamie, to be honest. Like we had a pregnant superhero and we went down because of financial concerns. We had COVID. So once I kind of shed that worry, I was like, yes, we can meet these characters where they are now. They're not 21, they are matured. I told the cast that we would meet them where they were and tell a story that's a little bit profound about changing and evolving and choosing family and love and sacrifice and all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm sure people are going to have lots of opinions, but it's all just part of my nefarious plan to get more Earp. So, I can take it.
No,
Remind me I told you that.
okay.
Yeah.
Was any of this, though, what you had originally planned if you got a season five, or was this like a whole new idea then?
This was a whole new idea, right? And that again was the mandate because we had a new network. Like Tubi was very keen, but they also were like, we don't want someone to have a spreadsheet of all 4 seasons of Earp to tune in. We already know those Earpers are going to tune in. This is a chance to get a whole new audience, right? We want the Earper's stepdad or their sister or their cat to be able to watch this and kind of understand that Wynonna Earp is like a totally unlikely, wild demon hunter. This is her dysfunctional posse of dipshits who help her. They fight the supernatural in their beautiful hamlet in the middle of the Rocky Mountains. Go. Like, I just think they really wanted to strip down some of the mythology. That being said, of course, there's like lots of Easter eggs and everything for the original Earpers, but no, I think if it was this in series form for season five, I would have told a very different story with a different villain. We would have had more time to explain those stories, but I knew I wanted something really personal for Wynonna about her past and standalone. So that's what we did.
I do got to ask, you killed Doc. I mean, it's
I
left
know.
open, but I mean, what I guess was behind that decision? I know you said things aren't always happily ever after, but other than that, like, kind of where did that come from? I guess.
That came from Tim Rozon.
Oh,
Like,
really? Wow.
yes. So this was like, we needed a catalyst. Like, if I'm Tubi, I was like, why would we keep going? What is the story? What have you not told? You have a happily married couple and you have a couple riding off into the sunset. And Tim Rozon, because he is the erpiest Earp of all time and was like, I will do anything to get this fandom more of what they love. He said to Tubi, well, Doc has been on an adventure. He's been a bad guy. He's been a gunslinger. He's been a good guy. He's been a father. He's been a vampire, but he hasn't gone on the greatest adventure of all, which is death. So that's what he pitched. Tubi said we loved it. I said to Tim when we got greenlit, are you sure I can talk them out of it? We agreed that this is a very moving, profound story. It would matter to Doc that he went out the way he did, protecting the people he loved as a good person. And, more nefariously, I feel like worst case scenario, if everyone is mad, maybe they'll clamor for more Earp. And listen, I would love to see hot zombie Doc. I'm sure you wouldn't hate that coming out of the ground with no shirt on. Just stay with
That'd be
me, Jamie.
good.
It wouldn't be the worst. So we'll see what happens. Like, but I did think it's a special. It's not a series. They wanted things to
Right.
matter. They wanted some loss. They wanted some big emotions, some big swings. So Look, death is something we're all going to have to deal with, whether it's to a
Mm,
loved one or our own. Not for me. You guys do you, but I've decided I'm not going to participate. But I
Let's be a
just think
vampire too.
it felt moving, and the fact that maybe you don't love it means you care about the character. So there you go.
Yeah, it was very shocking. I definitely cried. Now,
I'm
now I gotta go back and fix it. So
Yeah,
I
good,
gotta
good. Help me. We can fix
ask,
it
yeah.
together.
Now I gotta ask the comment in the show. Obviously, she says it feels more like a reboot than a reunion. So,
Yeah.
I mean, has there? I'm assuming there's probably been some kind of talks. It sounds like from what you're saying, but is there? I mean,
Yeah.
you think something's coming? I know you can't probably outright tell me
Well,
anything, but
I'm like, I don't want to promise anything. Nothing is guaranteed. That is my
mm,
100% truthful
yeah.
answer. Like I am notorious for like doing a billion cliffhangers, right? Because I'm
Mm,
like, this is my Machiavellian way of being like, well, we got to come back. So look, Tubi knows about the passion of the audience, but it's not the largest audience. It's a very loud audience. So look, we got to show up in the most old-fashioned of ways, which is numbers. We got to view it a bunch of times. There's got to be good numbers for Tubi, but then there is definitely the opportunity to tell more. We may also have even shot some bonus material
ooh.
that if we do enough, we could maybe at a later date showcase to see where we go next. So yeah, of course. And look, I'm so into Earp. Like I will do Earp Golden Girls. I will do Nicole and Wynonna in their rockers on the porch if you want me to for 40 years. So just being back in this world, all jokes aside, it made me realize how much more story these characters have to give and how much more we could do with them. So I would love the opportunity to do more. And yeah, of course, it's always a possibility.
Well, I hope so. I want to see more.
Okay, good.
So, was there anything? Well, I know you obviously, if you're gonna maybe have more, you can't tell me things you would have added, but like, is there anybody, I guess, that you would have liked to have brought back that you couldn't just for time or whatever, any other character? Because I mean, most of the more recent people were in it, but
Yeah, I mean, I would say again, there were certain elements that stayed in. Like, there's interesting facts about the characters. Like the fact that Nicole is the angel's shield and she can't leave the Ghost River Triangle is a really interesting character trait. Or like, I always have time for more Bobo Del Rey. You know what I mean? Like he's just such a delicious villain. And I would have loved to have done more Black Badge and Jeremy. But again, because it was a little bit of a reboot, only in the most general sense, I think it was so important that a newbie understood what the four core
yeah.
characters were about, right? And then again, because you have your Bunny Loblaw and people showing up, Chrissy Nedley, what have you, yeah, there's still a nod to this rich sort of world of Earpdom. But there's tons that get cut out. And of course, I always write as if I have a $20 million budget. So someday I'll show you that script, right? And I'm like, oh, sure, there's elephants and balloons and Meryl Streep is going to play Mina's mom, all that stuff, but maybe next time.
You talk about characters. I was like, yay, Mercedes is back. That didn't last very long,
Well, as
unfortunately.
a fellow redhead, I'm sure. Yeah, well, we needed a catalyst to get Wynonna home, and
No,
again, it had to be something crazy.
that
Yeah,
was good though. So let me ask you, if you think back to when you first started this journey, what's something, and now granted, other than, killing him off, what's something that you would be surprised that happened to your characters? Because I know they take on a life of their own to some extent, even though you're the writer, you
yeah.
never necessarily know where they're going to go. So what's something that's really surprised you if you think
I
back?
mean,
Surprised you.
nothing will surprise me more than when Melly Scrofano said I'm pregnant in second season, right? Like we had almost the entire season written. So, and for a minute, I convinced myself that we could just do it with Mel pregnant. We could just do the story without Wynonna pregnant. And then I always remember one of my fellow writers put up pictures of the different trimesters and what women look like. And when we got to episodes 10, 11, 12, like Mel was going to be in third trimester, we were like, there's not a laundry basket large enough to hide that. So often in TV, especially with something as scrappy as Earp that has a low budget, things that seem like accidents become opportunities. Like season 2 is one of my favorite seasons because it's so unexpected. Wynonna, who's promiscuous and didn't even have a relationship, to get pregnant and make the choices she did, just enriched the characters so much. And I think I have such a soft spot for the journey that this cast has gone on as well, like watching Dom on their journey of sexuality and gender identity, and Kat become a mom, and Mel become a director, and Tim's become a leading man. Like some of that informs the character, I think, just like getting older, like for all of us. So, um, all choices were all, if you looked at the Bible for the first season, you would be shocked at the things I thought would happen versus what did happen. So,
Well, let me ask you, we're almost out of time, but let me ask you, how have you changed since the beginning? You as an Emily
um,
changed.
I no, you can never be arrogant enough to be like, this is going to be the one that's a huge hit, and there's going to be conventions all over the world and people screaming at me because I killed a hot gunslinger. Like you can't even though you hope for those things, there's something so profound as a creator to write a story in your head that other people say, I feel seen with that. I feel seen with this. I understand what you were trying to do, and I adore it. I feel like it's caused me to trust my own voice more, but more than that, I will never not be grateful and privileged to do ERP. Do you know what I mean? I would never turn my back on it. It feels like a gift that so few creators get, just to have encountered this cast and this fandom and this phenomenon, and talking to you guys, all the reporters who have been with us since the beginning. That has made me really feel grateful for my life when times are tough. So thanks.
Sure. Well, thank you. It's a great show. I do seriously hope you get more. I've been a fan from the beginning. So
Good. I promise we can
yeah.
fix this. We can fix this. Stay with me. We can fix this really sexily. We can fix this really sexily. I
Yeah,
promise.
I'm sure there'll be fanfic too until then. So we'll
Oh
just
yeah, of course,
go.
exactly. I can't read it, but enjoy. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
All
That's
right.
saying hot zombie doc. It works for me.
Yeah, I'll have to
Bye,
remember that one.
Jamie.
All right. Thank
Talk
you so
soon.
much. Have a good
Thanks
rest
for
of your day.
waiting.
Bye bye. Sure. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.